The interesting thing about these conversations regarding what is considered cheating or what is or is not okay in a relationship in terms of faithfulness is that it makes no sense to argue with anyone else about it or try to force someone else to see things our way. The reason why is because the way we view this topic, which is interpersonal connection, is in the same category as introversion versus extroversion and the 5 love languages. It is a foundational pillar in who you are. It originates when you are incredibly young and grows with you like a beautiful flower. It is a scale or a spectrum, so to speak, where the center point is 0. Let's say this side represents the protective type of people that we generally associate with stronger or more boundaries around this topic. The other side we will call unguarded, meaning the opposite type of person that desires less constraint in their connections. As I said, the center point essentially represents ground 0. Going further to the left means stronger thoughts, ideas, and responses that align with being a protective person, while going further to the right would mean the same about being an unguarded person. Getting to the polar ends of either side of this scale represent the most extreme versions of each of these types of people. There are 3 fundamental differences in the entire way that these 2 kinds of people think and live that make them feel so differently about this topic. Let's begin with the protective people. They believe that the fruit of life is somewhere within the soul, the heart, the psyche, whatever you want to call it, but it is inward. They believe the most beautiful discovery and adventure lies within, and that is where we will find the meaning of life. They believe strongly that closeness is the centerfold of love and connection with others. This is why they value so strongly actions that display honesty and loyalty. And they also believe that attraction is a part of love, which is why their partner being attracted to another person can symbolize that the connection is not as true and feel like a betrayal. Keep in mind that the further you are to the left of this scale, the more you will align with these beliefs, and closer towards the center, the more these ideas may be watered down or viewed from multiple angles. The unguarded people believe that the fruit of life is outside of themselves and that the meaning of life lies within the vastness of the world around them and the co-creation we experience when we interact with others, or outward. They believe that true love is created through freedom to be your own very individual self with your own separate life, while also being with another person and having a life with them too. Lastly, they believe that attraction does not mean anything. This is why they feel free to find attraction in others. They do not feel threatened when their partner is attracted to others, and even if they give attention to someone just because they find them attractive, it does not create friction in the relationship because it holds no meaning or value. Again, the further you are to the right of this scale, the more you will align with these beliefs. So now that we understand the differences, let's give these 2 kinds of people proper names instead of these terms that have negative connotations associated with them. Let's call them inward people and outward people. Let us address the elephants in the room. What about toxicity, control, and how does someone become an inward or outward person as they grow up? Let's start with toxicity. This scale actually has both a horizontal axis and a vertical axis. We already understand that every person is somewhere on this horizontal line, which represents their beliefs regarding faithfulness. If you're in the middle, it's because you don't really know what your feelings are yet, and maybe you've never been in a connection. People on the inward side of the scale, or the left side, tend to have firmer boundaries and love reassurance. Healthy couples on the inward side of the scale love to be together quite often, if not always, and tell each other everything. Couples that are all the way on the extreme side of the left tend to be categorized as Doberman couples, the kind to give off this energy to others of don't even try to get attention from either of us. People on the outward side of the scale, or to the right, tend to value having large friend groups of all genders. Flirting is not quite considered cheating, and healthy couples love to go on their own adventures, and they are strengthened by their independence. They tend to be easygoing and have less tension and less arguing in their relationships. But no matter who you are or where you are on this horizontal line, there is a vertical line that reveals how you act about your needs. Think of it like a temperature gauge. The further up, the hotter, the more intense, the more toxic. The lower, the more chill. But you want to be in the center. You want to be at ground zero, because this means that you act calmly about what you need, communicate kindly and properly, you have an open mind, you understand there may be need for cooperation, but you still create boundaries and make your needs a priority. If you are acting above that on the scale, you are acting too intense. The higher up, the quicker you get angry. The more angry you get, the more you are being mean to get what you want or manipulating to get your way. If you are below this line, you are not any better to yourself. The further down you are on this scale, the more of a people pleaser you are being about your needs, giving up your personal power, pretending that you are compatible just to stay in a relationship, and the less value you view within yourself, you cannot be truly happy with either of these energies coming from yourself or the person that you are with. So it does not matter where you are on this scale, even if you are either at the extremes. You have a choice to communicate your needs properly, cooperate where you can if you need to, not be with someone if your differences in this area are causing arguments, or not getting into a relationship with someone in the first place if they do not share a similar outlook. Anyone in this middle radius is fortunate because they have a higher likelihood of being compatible with more people. There will be more people that you can sort of get on board with, or that can get on board with you, whereas the people at the end of the extremes are more unique but just as wonderful and valuable. One other important point to make about toxicity and faithfulness is double standards. If you have a lot of things to heal and have toxic tendencies in relationships, you might not actually know where you stand on this scale. You might tell your partner that they can't speak to people of the opposite gender, all the while you are messaging people behind their back and cheating. You might kiss a close friend at a party and tell your partner that they are toxic for being upset, all the while you would leave them if they did the same. One major signifier that you are more balanced rather than toxic in your approach is if the ideas and boundaries you have for your partner are identical to the ideas and boundaries you follow for yourself. You should never ask someone to do or not to do anything that you do not already replicate yourself. Let's talk about control now. Compatibility and control are inversely related to one another. You will always feel controlled when you are expected to deviate from your norm, and the more compatible you are with someone, the less you will be expected to do that. You are more compatible with someone if they are on your side of the scale, so inward people with inward people and outward people with outward people. You are more compatible with someone the closer on the scale you are to one another in general, even if they are on the other side, so an inward person with an outward person. Something extremely important about control is this. It is just as controlling to an outward person to hear an inward person say, "You have to cut that person off. I need your location on. Your phone is my phone and my phone is your phone. And you don't need friends of the opposite gender or I will leave you." As it is for an inward person to hear an outward person say, "I will go out without you. I will wear what I want. I will talk to my ex. I will wish I could date my celebrity crush. I will still have my prior flings added and like their posts, even if you try to set boundaries." Wherever you do not have compatibility, you feel controlled or feel like you are trying to control the other person. This means that most things you argue about are technically you trying to control the situation by getting your way. Instead, we should rewrite the script and realize that true control is only happening if we are being toxic. Sometimes the person you are with will want things one way when you want them another. If you find that you disagree about all the most important things, you are likely not compatible enough. Finally, let's talk about origins. How did you become an inward or an outward person? Let's start with inward. This represents you and your psyche. When you are very young, you may have outside stressors, basically things that make you uncomfortable with the outside world. This can be abuse or neglect, but oftentimes it's just introversion or being a root person, meaning that you mostly value alone time, creating things over interacting with others, or spending time at home. You may feel a strong bond with nature in comparison to the bond you feel with people because you tend to be judged or misunderstood. This prevents you from growing in a direction that is primarily outward. This light represents ideas, passion, things we find interesting and beautiful, and overall our personal growth. Due to outside pressure, the light stays within us. Our soul caves in on itself, so to speak. We delve inward because we must. We desire adventure and wonderment, and we instead find it within. So now what about outward people? Outward people view the world around them as safe and easy to maneuver. They want to experience and interact with the entire world around them. You might call these sacral people because they value being social and having variation in their lives. For one reason or another, they felt free, unjudged, maybe even beautiful, and this unchained them from constantly going inward as children. Sometimes it is because they have a warm family, but other times it is just their own instinct from observation that they have this innate invitation to adventure. As you can see, when an outward person grows, the light is shining from the place just outside of them, the part that interacts with others and the world. This is their specialty. Of course, light and growth still make its way to the outside of the inward person and the inside of the outward person. You will meet all kinds of people with so many different personalities that align with either inward or outward ways of being. The only time we truly reveal the type we are is when the topic comes up or if you end up in a relationship with us. What I want you to understand is that both of these kinds of people and ways of life are equally beautiful and powerful. We find it nearly impossible to relate to people on the opposite side of us. We think each other is literally crazy. The truth is that 50% of people are inward people and 50% of people are outward people. It is split right down the middle. Always remember that you are strongly understood in this way by half of the human population, and even if you are on an extreme end, there are still so many people that relate to you. You are not alone, and you are not crazy. Identifying ways in which we may be being toxic or people-pleasing will only make life better and easier for us. Don't feel so powerfully offended when someone in line says they feel a different way than you do. Don't pour your energy into fighting about the differences in what you need. You will find much more peace in being content that everyone is different. Thank you for watching.